In 1945, the world celebrated the end of the bloodiest war in human history. Cities lit up in joy, nations sighed in relief, and soldiers finally laid down their weapons. But deep in the jungles of the Philippines, one man refused to surrender. For him, the war never ended. This is the unbelievable true story of Hiro Onoda, the Japanese soldier who fought for nearly 3 decades, long after World War II was over. Hiro Onoda was just 20 years old when he joined the Imperial Japanese Army. Trained as an intelligence officer, his orders were clear: never surrender. Never take your own life. Hold your ground until Japan commands otherwise. In December 1944, Onoda was sent to Lubang Island in the Philippines. His mission: sabotage enemy supplies, gather intelligence, and fight, no matter how long it took. Only a few months later, in August 1945, the war came to a sudden and shocking end. Japan surrendered after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But Onoda never received the message. For years, Onoda survived like a ghost of war. He hunted bananas, coconuts, and wild animals. He mended his tattered uniform. At night, he sharpened his rifle, convinced that the enemy could attack at any moment. Villagers on the island feared him. To them, he was a mysterious, dangerous soldier who raided their crops and disappeared back into the forest. As the years passed, one by one, his fellow soldiers either surrendered or died. But Onoda remained. Hidden in the dense jungle, he dismissed surrender leaflets dropped from planes as enemy tricks. To him, they were propaganda meant to break his spirit. And so, he continued fighting a war that no longer existed. Japan dropped leaflets. They sent newspapers. They even broadcast messages through loudspeakers. But nothing could shake Onoda's belief. He thought, if Japan had truly surrendered, my commanders would come for me. Until then, my duty is here. Imagine the loneliness. Imagine waking up every day, surrounded by silence, convinced the world was still at war. Years turned into decades. When men first stepped on the moon in 1969, Onoda was still hiding in the jungle. When televisions became common in Japanese homes, Onoda was still polishing his old rifle. When Japan transformed into a modern, booming nation, Onoda was still living in the past, clinging to orders that no longer mattered. 29 years. 29 years of isolation, survival, and unshakable loyalty. In 1974, a young Japanese explorer named Norio Suzuki traveled to Lubang Island. His mission was extraordinary. He wanted to find 3 things: a panda, a yeti, and a man still fighting World War II. And he did. After days of searching, Suzuki stumbled upon Hiro Onoda. At first, Onoda was cautious, ready to shoot. But slowly, he listened. Suzuki told him the truth: the war ended. Japan is at peace. You can go home. But Onoda refused. His orders were clear: only his commander could relieve him of duty. And so, in March 1974, nearly 30 years after the war ended, Onoda's former commander, now an old man, was flown to the island. He looked Onoda in the eye and said the words he had been waiting for: "Lieutenant Onoda, the war is over. You are relieved of duty." At last. Onoda laid down his rifle. When Onoda returned to Japan, he was greeted with tears, shock, and respect. Some called him a hero. Others called him a stubborn relic of the past. Hiro Onoda's story is not just about war. It is about commitment, endurance, and the power of belief. For 29 years, one man held on to his mission when the entire world moved on. And while his war was misguided, his determination teaches us something priceless: when you commit yourself to a purpose, when you refuse to give up, when you stay true to your mission, no matter how hard, you become unstoppable. Onoda's jungle may have been filled with shadows, but his story shines as a reminder to all of us: never surrender your dreams. Never abandon your mission. Because sometimes, the greatest battles are not fought on the battlefield, they are fought in the heart. But no one could deny his unbreakable discipline and loyalty.